Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to the Super J Dudes podcast. How's it going? That was So Long Starhand, session 15 of this whole thing. So that was the big Mikey episode, I guess. So Long Starhand.
Too much destruction.
Yeah, that's a lot for Mikey.
We broke Bugaki at the end.
Yeah, just a little note. I'm wearing powder blue. Apparently, I think Sappy, you're also wearing powder blue. Powder blue is the Chondria color, and if you notice, I don't know, it's been 15 episodes, so I don't know if anyone's caught on by now, but I'm also wearing powder blue in this episode, and every episode that we record, I end up wearing, or I choose to wear shirts or an outfit that represents something in the episode or something that I have planned for the episode. Just to drop a little hint on you guys. I think the players have caught on at this point, but the viewers, if you haven't yet, pay attention to what I'm wearing at the beginning of each episode to get a little hint of the vibe of what's to come. So obviously that one, powder blue, the Conjure powder blue, it's their color. So that's why I wore that. But yeah, just a little Easter egg for those that are paying attention.
I also wore all black because I was very stressed that episode. I wanted to feel like the void. Yeah. I was preparing.
The title of the episode, So Long Starhand, actually, I think that was your idea, right, Sappy? I think a long time ago when we were world building, we come up with that idea, of just like maybe Mikey getting involved with his family more, and then that like kind of sidetracking everyone from what they were doing, or like Mikey disappears, whatever the case. But like the title would like kind of hint at him dying, but like not actually just yet.
It was still on like, you leave us in a dire scenario, but like you don't know what's gonna happen still, really. like things aren't looking good. But
in a way, Mikey does die this episode.
The Mikey as we know him, I guess, possibly. Yeah.
In a way.
But yeah, any initial thoughts from everyone from this episode? This was like a lot of RP, a lot of some combat.
Sappy said rent was due.
Yeah. Oscar-winning performance.
Yeah, Oscar-winning performance.
Passed out for 10 minutes.
Yeah, we were talking about how I would have done that in our first audio season, and like how there was no video. But I don't know. There's just something funny when like a character is like told to not participate, but like in a way that they're still there.
Yeah,
I gotta feel that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I actively almost pay attention to things I shouldn't be. And then, like you kind of have to keep your character in the dark. But if I like listen to you guys talk and I can't actively hear you, and after a while I zone out, it's like, nah, I gotta be. It's easier for me to just not pay attention.
Yeah, it was fun to start the episode with Mikey knocked out. I also didn't expect Mike, you and Bugaki, mostly you, to fight back so hard and get damaged so much.
I love that so much. I was like,
I as a person didn't think about the damage. I thought it was gonna be like role playing stuff, but I just thought like, what would my dog do in this situation? Like if his owner got taken away,
he'd the dog would go nuts and like
he'd do everything he can to chase after him. So that's what he did.
In my mind, as this was playing out as the GM, I was like, because you guys had just done the Alkene fight and like got a little bit damaged from that. In my mind, I was like, man, Mike's getting pretty damaged right now, and there's a big boss fight coming at the end of this. And he's just digging himself into a deeper hole, fucking himself up, which honestly worked out at the end because Whiskers' task during that combat ended up being something different anyways, right? Like he ended up securing the ship, which I think it's really cool that it ended up that way. But yeah, I was worried. I was like, man, could I even survive this? I mean, it's not even done yet, so we have yet to see.
But I mean, it was a lot to come into.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, was it like 24 damage or something? I'm pretty sure.
That was
24.
That was me being generous. Like you guys were surrounded by dozens, and I think I only rolled for like 5 of them to attack you. I think just to be like not like insanely like brutal on you guys.
You watch Whiskers get dismantled.
Well, because like imagine you guys are surrounded by a lot of the mechs that destroyed Whiskers' mech in episode 1. So like in my mind, I thought you would be intimidated by that and like you would be more
There's too
cautious
much
in that
passion.
situation. But yeah, also obviously emotions come into play.
Emotions were
And
high.
I
We
also
were
thought that
just
he'd
getting
be-
off a big mission.
Yeah.
I also thought he'd be faster and he'd be able to escape like faster than they could shoot.
Well, no,
But I guess
they were
not.
fully surrounding you, and they have like Conjure ships in the sky and like anti-air shit. Like they obviously
I'm
have
picturing
Conjure money
like,
to deal with this.
like that cyberpunk edge runners scene. Like I won't go into like detail, but you know, like the one where they're going over that guy who's like having a freak out. It's like Whiskers trying to save somebody, but there's just so much like
Yeah.
helicopter lights, people
Yeah.
behind walls.
Yeah.
It's just too much zoned in on him. So even if he's rolling good or zoned, because he dodged a lot.
Yeah,
It
Yeah,
still
he's
was
pretty
like
good. And he has
something-
like
something
insane
gets you.
movement. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
I imagine it like Whiskers is like flying straight up and all these bullets and laser beams are going after him, and then finally like all these like stun
slowly gets
EMP
clipped.
things are like
Yeah.
exploding in the sky and they're hitting him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Very cool scene. Like
It makes
cinematic.
it sad too.
Yeah.
But yeah, for Mikey, what did it feel like to be back in Conjure? I mean, this is the first time like us as viewers and even the players are visiting
Yeah.
Conjure. So the other side of the galaxy. But like, how did it feel to be
It
there
was-
again? To see Rosie and Dice again? The art, shout out to
It was
Defran.
Oh yeah, D-Frank killed it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was intimidating in a way for sure, because I feel like for me, I had high anticipations as like a player in this game that I was like, oh, this is gonna be like really, really fun no matter what happens. So I just kind of wanted to like go into it more like how Mikey would feel emotionally in that moment, which is how he's always kind of been, just aggressive, I guess. So I wanted to keep being aggressive, even like I feel like it worked out because Victor and me had like some fun like back and forth, which I enjoyed. Even like when he was just like punching me and kind of like making Mikey look weak in like a lot of those moments, which was
he's
good.
a huge guy.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
but,
even as a GM, I would
it's a
say
lot.
similarly, I had a lot of like pressure of these scenes
Mhm.
because I was like, we've been like talking about the Chondria's stuff and the phases right for so long, and like this is our first time meeting like some big honchos. Even when you met the other brothers, like each of those scenes, I'm like, oh fuck, this is like the first time we're meeting them. Like, what's that gonna be like? Like
there's always a different weight too. Like if you compare like when we met with Noon in that like quick moment where it's like, oh shit, there's Noon, versus now it's like, oh shit, you're like in their house. I mentioned I didn't even notice it, but I kind of, there was a bit of Ned Starking going on in terms of like between Noon and me, because like I kind of had somebody inside the Empire who was kind of like giving me a little bit of information, but only at like a certain time of day after I had already been like beaten down or things had been going. I'd see him like at the end of the day. He's like, oh, how's it going? It's just like such a you know, you need a savior, but it's like the worst possible option.
Yeah, with Noon, that's interesting. Like I feel like we meet so many characters in this campaign. Even Magnus was saying like there's so many characters like in Super Journey Dudes campaigns that we meet just in passing or whatever. And so frequently we meet new characters. Like almost every episode we meet a couple of new NPCs.
I mean, even the one-offs we keep.
But I feel like
new ones.
yeah, we don't spend too much time with a lot of them, I feel, which is just the nature of things. And sometimes like a lot of them just like stay as like concepts, like they're just like this funny concept or this fun concept, and we don't learn about them on a deeper level. So having a bit of their personalities like shine through, especially like with this one, like with Noon, you know, he was like a bounty hunter. You know, we knew he was like out for you guys and like into money. But then, like, really seeing the depth of that, of him being like, oh, like, you know, he's willing to betray Rosie and like play a more neutral role if you pay him. Like, I like these moments where I can add a bit more depth to the characters because I feel like we don't get to a lot of the time, just because like the campaign is moving at such a speed, and we're meeting so many new people every episode. So
well,
I
I
like
like
that.
it because I feel like every description I gave you, you played them perfectly well. Because like I kind of gave like subscriptors and like ideas of what the relationship would kind of be like.
Yeah.
And you just like brought it. Like the moment I was talking to Rosie, I was just like, oh, I already know it's gonna be like that kind of emotion between them.
Oh yeah.
And then like even when Noon comes back and there's that moment where I think I was like, I didn't even know what I was saying. I think I was just trying to like insult him or antagonize him, but I mentioned his ego. And then you just
That's
like
such a
you
good
made
line,
that thing
yeah.
with the soldiers, and the soldiers were kind of like laughing. So it kind of like it shows that there's like, oh, maybe they had talk or something, or maybe there is like this thing about him. So it kind of builds his character more around like, yeah, he's a big money guy, but he's kind of self-inflated.
Yeah.
And even the people there are like, oh, he doesn't even fucking give a shit.
Yep.
They
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
know.
I really like Noon as a character. I until like this episode, I didn't realize how much I liked it. But he has a cool he's a cool idea.
Super fun.
I think
Um,
you
and
did a
even,
great job with the siblings and showing their
the different dynamics,
their
right?
roles in the family, I guess.
Mm.
Yeah, there's so many different
Mhm.
siblings, and like it like even as a GM, it's hard to be like fuck so many siblings. What's Mikey's relationship like with each of them? And like for the most part, like it's bad, obviously. But then we have like Roland, and then like Noon is a little more on the neutral side. But then like yeah, each
But even Dice, he kind of just held his ground like a statue in the room versus like everything else that
Yeah.
was going on, which
But
kind of felt more like even looking at his art, how he comes off.
Well, he's such a square like dude, and he's like like the military guy, and like even there's one line that I think translates like what he's about most, where he's like he kind of gives you that chance, right? He's like quit this stuff you're doing and join us. So there's even like a little bit of like we're still family. Whereas Rosie's straight up like fuck you, like I hate you, like you should be dead, like blah blah blah. So
Just
yeah,
feel
I like the
military
nuance.
recruited.
Yeah.
You guys should make a Mikey Starhand family tree for the
Oh,
people
God.
to understand it.
Yeah.
The
Sappy, if you want to draw
master.
up like a
I was just gonna say, can you actually describe the family right now? Because you're describing like third youngest, fourth youngest. Like that's so
That's why we
confusing
need a
for my
tree.
brain.
that's
we
why
need a tree.
that's
You
what was given
definitely
to
need
me.
a tree.
Yeah, I had to give it to Chris because I was like, I know I'm gonna forget the order eventually. But even when I described it to Alex, I was like, let me triple double check because I'm like, there's so many of them. I have to get the order right.
I could pull up. So obviously the parents are Jules and Ben Fazos. That's the mom and dad. The youngest is obviously Mikey Starhand.
Can you start at the oldest? Can you start at the oldest?
So the oldest is
would
Angel.
be
Is Angel,
yeah.
the one that we don't really know about? Yeah.
Which
Angel's
is like
separate from everyone else because everyone else was born at the same time because they were all created, or not?
Well, I don't think
Angel's
you guys know enough.
like an unknown.
Yeah, you guys don't really know enough about Angel to know.
Because I didn't write anything about Angel because he was like a fun. I was just like Chris writes him kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't even know anything about
So
Angel.
he's very
Chris is gonna create.
Yeah. Fun fact: if you didn't watch one of
He's
the
the
other
wild
talkbacks
card.
where we talked about it, Angel's the one sibling where Sappy just like run with it, just do something cool. So I will be eventually, but Angel is the one that's like question mark. But he is the oldest, aka seventh youngest. I'd like to think, that's what Sappy described it to me as, like seventh
I think
youngest.
it's because I want to describe them, but it's like I didn't know how many I was making. I think after a while, and I just probably kept going. But thinking about it in that sense, it's kind of funny because there's not a lot of things where it's ever explained.
Yeah. Well, in my mind, it's like it's from Mikey's perspective. Mikey's the youngest, so it's like from him, and then also, I think it's funny. Just like I feel like it'd be funny if like Conjure is just like they describe them like this, like the seventh youngest.
Yeah, like it's a weird nuance. Like they don't want to refer to themselves as aging. It's like this complex around getting older.
Yeah, so basically Rosie is the oldest, like beyond all that. Like younger than Angel, but the oldest of like the ones that we've been seeing. And then it's Roland, actually. Roland is the second oldest from this group. Which is cool, like that he's Mikey's ally and stuff.
I like the dynamic too between him and Rosie in terms of,
and then going younger,
it how they carry themselves.
It goes Dice, Noon, Joseph is the closest to you, Sappy, and then Mikey. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the family tree.
I'll get Alex's art all lined up and we'll do a little diagram.
All you have to do is just circle and just have
we'll just plug them.
Dude.
And put like a shadow for Angel.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Well, even
A
the shadow from the
silhouette.
parents. We don't even know the parents yet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
Even
just a
technically,
silhouette.
Yeah. It could be
That'd
like
be
a whole
great.
Conjurer family tree, like Victor Sluga's chief of security and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that shit.
See who's hired on with him.
Yeah. But Mike, how did it feel to have like Whiskers and Bugaki behind bars and like separated from Mikey? So I've always had like this idea and I applied it into this episode, but it was one of my early ideas for sure of like Whiskers and Mikey were like the duo, you know,
Yes.
they started together, but to
Mhm.
separate them and then take away Whiskers' translator so that he couldn't communicate or it'd be harder to navigate
Yeah.
things with Bugaki because they couldn't understand each other. That was like in my mind a fun like puzzle, like RP
Yeah.
puzzle to throw at you guys.
In general, I always am very uncomfortable when you throw us into situations where we don't have our mechs and we're just like
Yeah.
people in like behind enemy lines. And it's like, how do we ever get out of
Mm.
any situation that we're ever in? But when you took away the translator, I was like, okay, like I'm just gonna be a dog. Like I'm just a dog this episode. So I
Well,
just
say
thought
because
of like
you're the
what would a
captain
dog
too.
who likes to like cause shit, what would they do? And that's kind of what I did, like howling and
Mhm.
peeing and doing the water thing. And just like you said, Sappy, like Whiskers got his task. He's like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do now. I'm just gonna bring water from the toilet to the laser
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
It
I thought
was
it'd be
an
cool to like,
operation.
I thought it'd be cool to shake it up, like, cause
Yeah,
like
it was cool.
like
It was fun
you guys
actually.
just like being able to talk amongst each
And
other
also
and just
kinda
do like
like
a standard prison break isn't.
the howling
It
and
does
stuff
it.
and like the communicating was like kind of cute
Yeah,
too.
this is
Because like
yeah,
it just
Yeah,
it
the
did show
howling,
it
yeah.
did show a little bit of the bond between the two characters. I
Mhm.
feel like we haven't had a moment where we
Yeah.
were like, "Where the fuck are you okay?" Like
Yeah.
it hadn't gotten to that yet for us. We're always like,
Yeah.
"Oh, look, we're out of
Yeah.
here, guys."
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. Yeah, because like we know like Mikey and Whiskers like they've been together for a couple of years now,
Mhm.
and we don't really explore that too much. But yeah, this was a little bit
Mhm.
shone a light upon that, like being like oh like they have like a thing that they do when they get separated, like they check in on each other. Yeah, nice to see that little bond that we don't get to see that
We'll have to
often.
do like we'll have to do a flashback prequel combat sequence. It's just like
Yeah.
us doing a
Yeah.
mission or something.
This very much is like Mikey's the main character in this episode for sure, because it's like everything is revolving around him. I'm your
Mhm.
friend, but like Bugaki's also like your buddy, and then all
Yeah.
this is your family members. This is your old home.
Yeah.
All this
Yeah,
stuff.
it's very, which is
The
also why I
monster
feel
hand.
like in my head I was like, there's so many things that could happen. Like, I think you guys understand. Like when I'm playing Biggie Radso, there's like a lot of things I do when I use Biggie Radso. And this, for
Yeah.
those who don't know, it's just like that's the one-off character I play.
Yeah. Ray
And there's
Chaser.
ideas that I have for Mikey Starhand in different times and different areas of the like story. And if I don't end up using them, I kind of bring them to Biggie Radso in like different ways. I kind of formulate them for him. I'm like, okay, I didn't get to act like this or I didn't get to do this. I'm gonna like make Biggie Radso do something like this. And that's pretty much what happened after we recorded all this. There's certain things that I not didn't do, but like almost played out better for me in the long run. If you think about like us getting out of the jail cell, like there's so many things that I could have done wrong in terms of Victor Slugo. Like I could have pushed him too far.
Man,
I
He's
could
gonna
have
kill
like
them.
separated
He is
us
gonna kill
further.
them.
kill them.
Well, he could have tried to kill
That
them.
was definitely a moment. That was a moment for sure. But I feel like in my head, we had so much back and forth that I was like, would Mikey kill him at this point? And like, you know, I'm not gonna say
Because
anything
the
else about
alarms
the
were going
story,
on
but
and
like,
stuff, right? So like you
there was
guys
so
are
much.
in a shitty situation.
Like maybe a different kind of Mikey, but like this Mikey is currently, I feel like he was so wrapped up with the fact that we were all in jail and we wanted to like figure shit out.
And just get out of there.
When
Yeah.
when we're role playing, like we are actually our characters. Like I am like panicking and like just
Yeah.
figuring stuff out and then trying to think like what would my dog do in this situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For those like you see the edits, but like I cut a lot of like them just like trying to figure stuff out and like thinking
it's hard.
because there is a lot of like deliberating. I know there's a lot of GMs that like
Mm.
cut that stuff short because they're like you don't actually in real life have like this much time to think about it. But there is a lot of that in the recordings that I do cut out for
Mhm.
time.
Well,
But
I think for Lancer, like we are enhanced beings, right? So like we
yeah,
are
yeah,
thinking faster than normal
that's
You
people.
fine.
get the
That's fine.
anime moment where you get the anime dialogue and the font changes color, the screen goes sepia.
Yeah. Another fun thing, yeah. I just love like the prison break scheming that you guys did. But another fun thing that I loved that I just kind of threw in there, like even after I like kind of like had like came up with the ideas for the episode, after like the previous 2 episodes that happened, the news report with like the old retired familiars on like the front lines of the protests. Like every time we record a session, I will like note things that you've done that influence like the stuff that's later in the
Yeah, the greater
campaign.
world.
And obviously like like the there's episodes that where things affect things more. But like a small thing like that, I like to like pay it off. And so that's why I thought like it'd be cool to like put in that little Easter egg of those
It was
familiars like,
great.
on the front
Yeah, it was great.
lines. Yeah, just I just like to reward players when they like do something cool and then like affect the world around them and like affect the landscape. So I do
And
that.
that's the cool thing too, because sometimes you don't even know if that character is going to be the one that's going to be brought back. Like, because we do so many moments where we try to RP with like a random person you've explained or like a different decision. But like sometimes it's just a guy where like, all right, where do we go? He's like, go to the bar, dude. Go to the bar. You know,
Well-
like nothing impactful happens. But then you'd meet those old familiars and we'd like all of a sudden we change their ambitions.
Well, it's cool because like we're kind of like all of us are kind of doing this double thing where like we're premiering the episodes, every week or whatever. And then I'm also editing them, but in real time, we're like about like 10 episodes ahead in terms of recording. But like when I'm editing and when I'm rewatching during these streams and us talking about it and like me remembering the moments from just like watching them again, that's when I'm like, oh yeah, like this character did this thing way back, and like it can inspire me to like write things in the future rather than pre-recording everything beforehand. I like that we're kind of doing this double watch play thing that we have going on. I think you guys are also having a cool experience because like you run into characters again that like from that like you maybe had just seen in the premiere like a week or two ago and stuff like that.
I mean, even just seeing the Voltron again, it makes me think about so many different things that could happen for like Endgame, and like seeing that moment where like even just like Rosie calling all the siblings together. It's like when it happened in the moment, I was so panicky and like I was already on my way. Like things weren't going well, so I was like just flabbergasted. But like listening to it back, and then like even Noon being like, "Oh well," and then he just gets dragged in. It's just such a reality that even Noon, even though he knows he's getting paid to help, it's like, well, I mean, you'll still pay me.
Part of this.
It's like technically I can't choose,
Yeah, I always thought it'd be cool when you kind of like came to the table with like the concept of like the Phasos family to have like the Phasos kids because you guys were experimented on, you guys were built for the empire that they created. I love the idea of like their intended purpose to be like this like Ginyu Force Voltron like superstar team in the galaxy, and that was like my inspo to like have them all combine because like
I would the ultimate like
yeah, in my mind, like your parents, like I think like that's what they wanted of you to be this like superstar team. But little did they know, like Roland fucks off, you fuck off, like you guys have all.
They wanted us to be like the ultimate tool.
Sentai warrior.
Yeah, they essentially the Zentai warriors of the galaxy. I love the idea. But hey, we just got a taste of that combat. We'll see what happens with that. Next time.
A lot of fire.
But also the music of this, the battle scene, like the guitar and like that's made by Brendan Pajazic, who's D-Friend's cousin, an old friend of ours, longtime friend of ours. The battle music was all him.
Oh wow!
He sent me that track, being like, if you want to use this for something, so I did. I thought it suited this fight. Brendan is if you're familiar with Structures. Or other bands like Northlane, he played on tour with them. Great musician. Also has a YouTube talking about music and stuff. So check him out.
Who made Bunket Macaroni background music? Because that was
that's Incomtech. Incomtech royalty free. Kevin McLeod. That's usually most of it's either tabletop audio, Income Tech, like
So good.
Kevin McLeod, royalty free stuff. But yeah, there's a huge library that I choose from. So shout out
It's
to
just so
them.
funny. The moment that he shows up and like talks to me, I don't know. It just puts me in this weird like
Yeah,
spy v spy moment where it's just like, we meet again.
yeah. No, it was the perfect song for that. The final like finally like face to face with
Yeah.
Bugaki.
And that leads to so much too. This is such a pivotal episode. There's so much like they finally
It's a lot of
meeting after
setup.
all these episodes of shit
A
talking.
lot of setup. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Victor was a character that I always had the idea of like because Bugaki stole a prototype, right, from Contra in episode 1.
Yeah.
And I think when I had like that elephant guy yelling at you in the first episode, I knew like I was gonna create like him being like a Condria lackey of some kind. But I think later on, I thought it'd be cool to like have the idea of like Bugaki having a rival mech of what Bugaki's mech was supposed to be, and then call it Large Fucker. And that was the origin of like Victor Sluga's entire like character concept. And then he ended up being Conjure's
he's a
chief of
great counter
security.
build too.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
But it's
cool.
also cool because like he had like a connection to Mikey in the end, even though like at the time when we stole the mech, we're just like, all right, cool, all right, we did our first job. Let's figure out what the rest of the galaxy has.
He was probably hired before you. See, you probably had never met him before you got estranged, right? So
yeah, no, well, he would have just have heard of me, right? Because he called me, but I guess at one point I think I said like, why are they're hiring some big fucking dudes now?
Well, even like
So,
that's also
he
why
wouldn't
he's
have.
so kind of like respectful to you. Like even when he punches you out, he like apologizes, calls you like Master Star or Master Phase, Michelangelo Phase or whatever.
Yeah, because I'm still technically useful. I guess,
he works for your family, even though his job was to capture you and stuff and punch you. He treats you with a lot of respect because of that.
It's a lot of punching.
Yeah. 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 Just a final funny thing. Just in going with the theme of like Cowboy Bebop, how like they're always broke and like their jobs never work out. The fact that like obviously Noon busted you guys out, and like without him, you guys wouldn't have been able to do all that. You guys sending most of your money to him. It's just a funny, just like, well, you guys are pouring it after having money for very short amount of time.
Second, I was like, should I even say yes to this? And I'm like, I kind of have to say yes to this because I was like, at the top of my head, I'm like, all the scenarios I could think of, I'm like, I don't really know one that'll get me out of here in time. I'm like, it's just such a limited amount of time. And I was like, I feel like this is like all a branch of sorts. So it's like, I don't know what it's gonna lead to, but let me figure it out.
Yeah, he was truly.
And even then, he's still kind of. Even the way he helped was like, I remember it was just like, oh, he's still okay. So he's not going to shoot us, but he's just kind of like actively not help. He was like helping us in a way that didn't get him in trouble.
Yeah, he can't get in trouble. Yeah, he can't compromise.
Like, in my head, I was picturing him like actively like, I was like, maybe he'll take a shot. Maybe he'll like do something.
No, he would never. Dude, are you kidding me, dude? Unless he's getting paid.
I was like, that's all our money.
No, that because that would compromise his future work with his family, right? He wouldn't do that. But
kind of turned a new leaf on him.
You're his brother, so he gave you that chance. He knew you had money. More importantly,
that's the only time. That's because he heard about the heist. That's the only reason he talked to me if we didn't do that heist.
But hey, you got that friends and family discount. Any final thoughts? We still have like the whole second half of this Condria thing next week, so.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be exciting to see, like, because this is I don't really remember if we have many other two-parters that we go through since this one, but it's like since the racing one, it's going to be a nice comparison to see how they two balance out, because the racing one also kind of had like Tale of Two Halves, but like I feel like the racing one was built up for sure, and this one was like from the get-go because it had ended on the tails of the combat already. Like this whole mission was already fired up, so
there's some cool stuff in the second half. I think next episode is really like a milestone and like a turning point for like the campaign as a whole. If you guys remember how it goes,
there's gonna be so much character development.
Even this episode, like what starts happening now just really opens up the campaign into like a bigger thing. But that'd be spoilers if I said anything more. But yeah, so we will see you guys next week here, same time, same place. For those of you who are around on Wednesday, we will also see you here for our Pokemon charity stream if you guys are around. The Pink City one. We'll be doing a Pokemon D&D thing. Really fun. We're on the SSN. And I have a lot of fun doing the voices for a couple hours. And we got special guest Lynn Unlimited, who is a awesome full-time streamer. If you aren't familiar with her, she's great. So hope to see you there. And yeah, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for playing. And until next time, over and out.
So long, Starhand.
So long, Starhand.
Goodbye.